This is Bazaar Morning Call. Broadcasting live from the CNBC TV18 Motilal Oswal studios in Mumbai.
Good morning. You're with us here on a fresh new edition of Bazaar Morning Call. We are coming to you live from the CNBC TV18 Motilal Oswal studios. It's Thursday morning, guys? Thursday morning.
Which one of us is going to say it's the penultimate day of the week? There's just one more day to go.
Well, I should... but it's looking good, right? It's looking better, and I think it's an important day with the RBI, etc. Morning,
Absolutely,
guys.
and it's almost at 22,000, the Nifty, right? Once again, so the market momentum has been intact. Yes, the RBI policy will come and it will go. I don't think there's any expectation of a rate cut, and the market may move on.
You just don't want to, have any kind of semblance of a hawk turning up. Besides that, I think we should end this week probably at fresh all-time highs. That's the texture of the market as of now.
Well, let's hope so, because, the RBI, what they can do really is provide a little bit of help at the margin. I mean, liquidity-wise, nothing on rates, etc. But if they do something on liquidity, I mean, that could be deemed as actually quite dovish and a help for the banking sector, for the non-performing banking sector. Well, I'll get to that in just a bit, but let's just take it from where we left off yesterday. Yesterday was a flat day, nothing really. The Nifty gave no indication that it wanted to pick a direction or it wanted to pick pace. It was slow. I'm talking about the Nifty here, and of course it was directionless, so nothing. But that should not let you sort of miss what happened in the rest of the market, which was as vibrant as ever, both on the way up and on the way down. So much, which we will talk about over the next couple of minutes. Now, equity markets overnight have been very strong. The S&P is up about 0.8%. The Nasdaq is up nearly 1%. The S&P is ended just below the 5,000 levels. The S&P 500, that is. And I think intraday, it did get to there. I think it kissed 5,000 briefly and then came off from that level. Nothing on yields, nothing on the dollar, absolutely flat kind of change on both these, on both of them. And I think not very much on oil as well. Now, we are really here waiting for the Nifty to show us the direction, what it wants to do, because we are at pretty much all-time highs. Can we add meaningfully from here? Or are we in for a bit of a pullback? It doesn't look like, I mean, there are no reasons really for a pullback, but then you never see one coming. But on the way up, how much and what will support the market higher? Could it be banks? Could it be Reliance? Could it be something else? I mean, I think that's the question. And that's why people are even asking this question, because one strong pocket of leadership has been kind of missing, because banks are not performing. IT performed day before yesterday. They fell yesterday. Reliance is, of course, on odd days gives support, but there's not been one or two consistent engines for the market. But having said that, here are the levels then. Supports, I'll start with the supports, because on the upside, we're at all-time highs and we can project levels higher. But as far as supports go, the 20-day moving average stands at 21,686. That's the nearest, closest. We left off at 21,930. And then below that, you've got the 40-day exponential moving average, which stands at 21,418. Much better if you kind of buy around these levels. And I don't think there's a big chase right at the word go. But buying, if there are dips which emerge, I think it always is better if you're trading the market. For the Nifty Bank, we posted a positive close yesterday. And again, here there's been a bit of a conundrum, right? Till day before yesterday, it looked like we will go to the recent low. Then yesterday, we had a 0.25% higher close. So here again, let me start with on the way up. The 20-day moving average is the resistance, where that number is 46,179. We left off at 45,818. And on the way down, the Bank Nifty should not break 45,527, which is the low day before yesterday. And a break of that, and there are other levels you'd perhaps confirm downsides. PSU banks, another roaring kind of day. I mean, just to give you an indication, when we started the last hour on air yesterday, the PSU bank index was up 2%. It ended up 3.5%. So there is strong momentum there. And the smaller ones, the UCOs of the world, the Canada banks, not the Canada Bank, but Central Bank of India and a few others, they all rallied between 15 and 20% in trade. We'll play out sound bites of the Prime Minister yesterday in Parliament, also talking about the PSU banks, talking about LIC. He's actually the one who really lit the fire as far as this entire PSU rally is concerned. and he kind of revisited that topic, taking note and making an assessment of the kind of gains we've seen since then for the PSU space. The GIFT Nifty is up on your screen. It's indicating a 40-45 point higher start. Sonia.
Absolutely. I mean, it's expected to be a good day for the market, and the momentum has clearly come back, right? I mean, you can see it in individual stocks. You can see it in the market overall. First of all, we'll just wait for the RBI policy to move out of the way. There's no rate cut expected this time around. But any dovish stance from the RBI will be taken with both hands by the street. So that's just what you need to focus on, the commentary from the RBI in today's policy. The US markets had a very strong session overnight. The Dow was up 150 points. The Nasdaq is at a fresh record high. So there's clearly a lot of momentum coming in from across the globe. Now, the Nifty, remember, is facing little bit of resistance around the 22,000 mark. On the 15th of Jan, thereabouts, we hit that 22,097 mark. Since then, the market has come off a little bit, but it's just a matter of time before that gets taken out. We had good results from the likes of Lupin, Tata Consumer. Apollo Tyres was not too bad either. Good operational performance over there. In fact, Lupin saw a revenue growth of 20%, margins at 20% versus estimates of 17%. So that could be one big stock to watch. Tata Consumer was not bad either, almost a double-digit top-line growth, EBITDA up 26%. PSU banks continue to be in focus, as Prashant was pointing out. SBI hit a fresh record high yesterday. So, that one will continue to assume interest. And I'm watching out for some perhaps follow-on buying on Trent as well. Despite the kind of rally we saw yesterday, Motilal Oswal has put out a fresh report where they have a target of 4,200 on Trent. So don't lose sight of that stock after the kind of, big moves it saw post its earnings. But lots to talk about. Looks like it's going to be a good one today.
Well, looks like it's going to be a good one, Sonia. And, the bulls will be fancying their chances. The last couple of days, you have the Nifty Financial Services Index that had its expiry. It ended at the high point of the day. The Nifty Bank, well, that had its expiry as well. And that as well ended at the high point of the day yesterday. And today, as we know, since it's Thursday, we'll be looking at the Nifty because that plays out the weekly expiry as well. So let's hope whether or not the bulls are the third time lucky. A lot will depend on what the RBI governor has to say as well. Let's get to the Nifty Bank then first up. Since it managed to defend lower levels yesterday, well, it defended the low of yesterday. And in fact, that was closer to around the 100 DMA. So that becomes the important mark on the downside. On the upside, you wanted to get decisively past the 20 DMA. So those are the crucial levels on the Nifty Bank. What did the FIs do in the market yesterday? Well, they added some short positioning after a while. So they added close to around 20,000 short contracts. That's what took the short positioning to close to around 66% odd. And I like this. I like the FIs to go short in the market. That's what gives us that additional, bounce on the fillip that we're looking at. So if you pull up a chart, they were net short to the tune of close to under 1 lakh contracts. That came down gradually to around 60,000 contracts. And after yesterday, we're back at a net short position from the FIs at 80,000 contracts. Not such a bad thing. In fact, it's a good thing. Once it moves closer to around the 100,000 mark odd, we have seen in the past that the markets normally do bounce off those levels. What about the options data? 22,000 call, that has a fair bit of open interest. 21,900 put as well, fair bit of open interest. On both those two, the premium is roughly around 55 rupees odd. The 22,000 call, the way it's being written, the bears believe they can defend the recent highs. The 22,100, they believe that they can defend that mark. Which brings us to the levels. So let's pull up the important levels that you're looking at on the Nifty. The resistance at around 22,100, where we made the recent high. So the bears believe they have this covered. On the downside, as long as the 21,500, 21,600 mark is protected, you'll say you're fine. Technical level, well, 20 DMA as well is up for you on the screen. The stock that I'm looking at today is LIC. That's the one that I'm looking at. It ended high with a gain of close to around 2% yesterday. If you pull up a chart, it's made a fresh all-time high. It's breached that 20 DMA. It's also gone ahead and in fact conquered that IPO price. So put all of this, well, the stock could be on your radar. And when you have our Prime Minister Narendra Modi talk about it, well, that gives you that additional fillip. But let's look at the data points then on LIC. The delivery-based buying is on a daily basis, for the last few months, that's moved up drastically. Just take a look at that. Just a few months ago, it was doing only around 10 lakh shares in terms of delivery on a single day. Now it's around 30 lakh shares. So that's one data point. Besides that, on a valuation front as well, my colleague Yash keeps telling us that valuations are fairly attractive out there. So on a price to embedded value, it's trading at around 1 times. Its peers are trading at around 1.6 to 2.5 times. The embedded value is around 6.5 lakh crore and the market cap is around that. So it has some valuation comfort. I think that's the one that you should be keeping on your radar today. When the Prime Minister has spoken about the markets and various stocks, it gives that additional fillip. So keep that on your radar, guys.
All right. Thanks a lot for that. Well, plenty of stocks and plenty of market views coming in this morning as well. We'll be talking a lot about what to expect from the RBI policy too. But first, let's get you some expectations on the money market. Parul Mittal Sinha of Standard Chartered Bank says the dollar INR continues to remain range-bound despite a strong dollar. She says the MPC remains the key event, but she expects the dollar INR to inch lower on strong fundamentals and Q1 positive seasonality. She expects the dollar INR to trade in a range of 82.80 to 83.20 in the coming week.
Okay, well, on bonds, we have Parul Mittal Sinha, who says that strong FPI buying interest coupled with lower state loan supply has strengthened the near-term demand-supply dynamics of the Indian government bonds. She expects the 10-year benchmark bond yield to trade between 6.95 to 7.1% in the near term.
Okay, all right. Well, we have a lot of stock-specific action to track. We'll get to that in just a bit. For the time being, we run you through the list. Tata Consumer, Power Grid, Manappuram Finance, Lupin, Mankind Pharma, all of them are on the positive side. Add to the list Apollo Tyres, Humans, and Welspun Enterprises. On the flip side, you have Fortis Health and JK Paper that could be reacting negatively to the news flow overnight.